So today we're going to take a look at the differences between command and arguments in Kubernetes, but we're going to start very simple with a standalone binary. We're going to build a Docker image for it, and last but not least, we're going to deploy it in Kubernetes. Our standalone binary is Kause, which is an executable that generates an ASCII art picture of a cow saying something provided by the user. It looks something like this. So if we pass hello, we can see that the message was successfully printed to standard output. We have this nice ASCII art of a cow. Now if we, have another message, this one is also successfully printed to standard output. Now, this is the behavior of our application. In order to build a Docker image, we need a Docker file. The Docker file, it's simple and straight to the point. We have a base image, more exactly Ubuntu. We have some metadata. Here we are installing the binary inside the container image. We don't have any dependencies, and last but not least, we're going to call Kause with the default argument hello. Let's build the image. So if we are going to build the image, let's specify the name as being, Kause, and tag 1.0. I'm going to be very explicit. More exactly, our Docker file, it's called cow Docker file, current directory as a build context. And now if we are going to spin up a container based on our image, more exactly Kause, and we're going to leave the default behavior and see what happens. We can see that as predicted, we have hello printed to standard output by the cow ASCII art. But what happens if we would like to print another message? We can see that the container runtime gives us an error. More exactly, it looks for another as being an executable within the path. This begs the question, what happens if we are going to pass another executable which might be in the container image, like ls, and we can see that ls was successfully executed within the container image and listed all the files for the container image. Now, this is not the desired behavior. We actually overwritten the CMD behavior. We need to modify the Docker file in order to fix this. So we can see that CMD actually was easy to overwrite. Therefore, we're going to use another instruction, more exactly entry point, which will fix this behavior. We're going to specify that Kause is the default executable that needs to be run, and of course here we're going to leave hello as a default argument. Let's build once more the image, same tag, same name. Now if we spin up a container once more, default behavior remains unchanged. Now if we are going to use another, we can see that our cow, it's saying another right now. Even more, if we are going to use ls, we can see that actually ls is not being executed anymore within the container, and it's actually being passed to Kause binary, and now we have our cow saying ls. Now that we fixed the behavior of our container, we can spin up a pod in Kubernetes. I'm going to spin a naked pod, meaning a pod without any controller, like a deployment or a stateful set. Here I'm going to specify our image, and last but not least, I'm going to use never as a restart policy. Why? Because we don't have any long-lived process within the container. Our demo pod was successfully scheduled in the default namespace. It was successfully executed, completed. Now if we do a kubectl logs demo, we can see that we have the default behavior, meaning the cow saying hello. Now if we take a deeper look at our pod, and let's take a JSON path and do a spec and containers, we have only one container inside of our pod. Let's see how our pod looks like. Let me pipe it to JQ. and we have our image and the default behavior. Now if we would like to have another message, let's delete our pod in the default namespace. And now if we spin up another pod and use argument in order to override the arguments being passed to our container, and here we're going to use another. The pod has been successfully scheduled and run, and now if we do a logs on it, we can see that we have another as a message to our binary. Even more, now if we take a look once more using JSON path at the spec of our container, we can see that the arguments are now another. So we successfully passed an argument to our container. But what happens if we would like to actually override the command, the cowsay binary? We're going to delete the pod. For that, we're going to do the same thing, kubectl run, specify the image, and in here, instead of this format, we're going to be explicit and specify the command. And let's say we would like to list once more. Guess what? If we do a kubectl get pods, once more the pod was successfully scheduled and run. And now if we take a look at the logs, we have the directories which are being listed because we executed ls inside the container. If we do once more get pods and take a look at the spec of the containers, we can see that now we don't have any arguments. We have command ls that was being run inside of our container. So this is the simple use case of command and args that modifies the behavior of our the startup behavior of our containers.